Hi, my name is Jennifer. I'm a group exercise instructor and physical therapist. Today's class is going to focus on some trunk stability. I am going to use a theraball, so if you don't have one, I will show some modifications. So there are things that you can do without the ball, so no worries there. If you've got the ball, at some point we will be anchoring against the wall or a couch, so make sure you have a little bit of room for that. And let's get started. We're going to start with just a little bit of warm-up before we really just jump right on into that trunk stability. So grab your ball, and I'm actually going to have you stand up and sit on your ball. And I want you to sit up really, really tall. And your feet and knees are going to be in alignment with those hips. Okay, so think about like sitting right up against the wall. Pelvic floor contracted, so close and lift through that muscle group. Transverse abdominal muscle flattens back to your spine, so you get that good compression. Use that built-in inner belt. Lengthen through the top of your head. Just kind of get used to sitting on the ball for a moment. And keeping all of that core set, I want you to go ahead and you're going to tuck your tailbone and round underneath you. So I'm going to turn sideways a little bit so you can kind of get a feel for what this should look like. So you're going to tuck your tailbone, really C-curve that out. And I'm using my abs to make that motion, not just kind of flumping down into my posture there. Then extend, tailbone back, heart lifted. And again, I'm going to use my abs tight, 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 tight. Then I'm going to contract through my low back, pulling it back the other way. So contract and flex, C-curve it, and then curve the other way. A little bit of extension. So it's not extreme. Just getting that core warmed up for a minute or two. One more time. And hold it center. Working into some lateral movement to the side of your body. You're going to pull your hip up towards your armpit on one side and switch. Pull it up onto the other side. I'm going to get my arms out of the way just so you can kind of see. So I'm squishing and compressing. Maybe I shouldn't use the word squish when we're working out, but you get that compression of that rib cage as you're pulling that hip up towards that armpit. One more to each side, and other side, and hold it. Now see if you can bring your feet in really close together and squeeze your knees in. Reconnect through that core. And if that feels pretty stable, I want you to come up on top of tippy toes, kind of lift your heels, come up onto the balls of your feet, and you're trying to just maintain your stability. Your core is set. Now put your heels back down. I want you to extend your right leg out in front. So you're really kicking through that quad, again, sitting up really, really tall. And some people will kind of ask, like, okay, I've got this theraball at home, but I don't know if it's a good height for me. Extend the other leg. When you're sitting on that ball, your hips and knees should be pretty parallel. Your butt does not want to be lower than your knee. My ball is kind of right at my limit right now. If it was any smaller, it would be too little to be sitting on because it most likely would drag me down into some sort of trunk flexion. So, be mindful of the size of your ball. One more time, switch. And release. Now, I want you to go ahead and stand up. Turn around and grab that ball. Just kind of smush it against your legs. I'm kind of squeezing in on it a little bit. Think about that really tall posture. Again, think Pilates. Pelvic floor up and in, transverse back. I want you to inhale, lengthen and reach. And I want you to roll down from that head through the thoracic spine all the way to the lumbar spine. Grab your ball, push it out, walk it, drop that chest, keep your core set, and roll back up the other way. Coming all the way up and peel down. One vertebrae at a time. Walk that ball out, give it a little length. Core set, peel back up and in. One more time, roll it down and walk that ball out. Keep that core set. Now, as you roll that ball back in, you're going to keep it in, and I want you to come down to your knees, and we're going to start with some plank walkouts. So depending on how far out you walk will depend on how difficult this exercise is. You can do regular planks. So again, here's where you don't absolutely have to have your ball. So if I come up with that ball onto my lower abdomen. Okay, and you don't want it up underneath your diaphragm, like up high into your belly rib cage. It doesn't feel very good, especially if you just ate. So keep it in the belly button and lower belly area. And I'm kind of on my tippy toes here. Now maybe that's enough stability for you to work on. Stay there, okay? Otherwise, if you can get your feet up and start walking it forward, get those legs up. And I don't want to sink through my rib cage. I'm not letting my trunk and my chest sag towards the floor. Push into the floor and really get that rib cage elevated, okay? Now I'm gonna have to back myself up because I know as I walk it out, I'm gonna end up completely off screen. Get rid of some of my stuff here. All right, so I'm gonna walk myself out here. Now, the farther out you go, again, the more difficult it becomes. So if I walk it all the way out to my shins and my feet, it's gonna be harder. All right, so belly tight up to your spine. Push strong through those arms. Okay, don't let that chest sag and that belly sag. Pull that up and in. And you're just maintaining this stability here. Breathing, long neck. Do not let your head hang and look at your ball. Keep your neck neutral. And again, you could be regular plank from toes or knees. Roll yourself back, control the walk, and give your core just a little bit of break. Get off your wrists. That's usually what needs a break for me, is my wrists. Now we're gonna add a little movement. So your choice is to stay in your plank, or you're gonna do a double knee to chest, okay? So come back up, start walking it out to where you feel your challenge. Maybe it's hips, thighs, knees, or again, ankles. And then you're gonna drag that ball in, tucking double knee to chest, push back out into your plank. Do not overshoot your plank and sag. Hit it, then drag, tuck, and control the plank. Set it. Exhale. Breathe. Now, if you're not on the ball, you can be in your plank and you can be doing a single knee into the nose and chest. So basically a non-plyometric mountain climber. So if you were there, I'll just show you guys. So if you're here, I could be here. Okay, if I don't have my ball. One more. Roll it back, control. And take a break. Now, we are gonna try some pike ups, okay, or a dolphin. If you want to be low impact on the floor, I might as well show that first, then I don't have to be on and off my ball. So if you're gonna be no ball, you're gonna be basically here, hiking up into that down dog and coming forward. Now, if you wanted to, you can do a roll into it and a roll back out of it. Otherwise, you can just drop and push. So with the ball, your goal is to keep your knees straight, pike it, and press that butt straight up to the ceiling. Let me roll it out. Let me get there. Okay, so strong into that floor, okay? Now, get your core really set. Pull your butt up, pushing in through your hands, coming up into your pike, and then back down into your plank. Don't overshoot it. Exhale. You could also do another set of knees if you don't want to pike. One more. Come back to your plank. Now, see if you can tuck your knees in Walk your hands back and stay on your ball. So we're gonna do a little balance for trunk stability here. It helps if you squeeze your feet into the ball, okay? So use those anterior shin muscles, okay? So squeeze in there. Now, your option is to stay here. You can come to fingertips. And you gotta get that core set. You can also do one hand off of the floor. You can do both hands off of the floor. So they're both on the ball. You can also start to take one hand off of the ball or both hands off of the ball and keep balancing. Now I want you to feel safe, so if you ever feel like you're gonna fall, please make sure that you either put hands down on the floor, catch yourself, or grab your ball. I'm gonna reposition myself just a little bit here. So play around with it. See what you can do. Again, my ball's a little deflated right now, so this is a little bit harder than what it normally is. And if you want, you can come up to kneeling. Yeah, I don't know if my ball's gonna do that today. Maybe. It helps if you pick a spot on the floor and look at it. Walk yourself back down to the floor, shoot yourself back to your plank, and roll it back. Nice job. And again, this is just stability, right? So it's not necessarily that you're gonna feel a burn when you're balancing on that ball, but it's how well are you kicking in your core to balance out your center of gravity on an unstable surface. So you could always, if you didn't have a ball, work on single leg kneeling balance and then switch it out, okay? As an option for next time if you want to do this video again. All right, now we are going to use the ball on the wall. So I'm gonna change views and then it'll look a little different. Okay, so I want your feet up against the wall. Your ball, again, depending on how much of my upper body I have hanging off the front of my ball, it's gonna make it more difficult. So the more of your chest and body that is supported by the ball, the easier it will be. So if I wanna start out here and that ball is right underneath my kind of abdomen, my belly button, and again, not really up underneath that diaphragm, then that's gonna be a little bit easier than if I pull that ball a little bit more underneath me and I've got it more underneath my pelvis. Now, feet on the wall. I do want you turned out a little bit, okay? So that means if you were looking at my feet on the wall, I'm not straight up here. I'm actually rotated and turned outward, okay? Externally rotated through the hip, and you're really gonna squeeze your butt. So, get your feet up against the wall. Pull that ball in, and you may have to adjust, kind of get a feel for where you want that ball to be. My feet are, again, gonna be turned outward, so my kneecaps are turned outward slightly. Your feet are not very wide, okay? This is not like a super big starfish type of position. My feet are kind of just a little tiny wider than my hips, okay? All right, now from here, I want you to put your hands on the ball to start with. Get your belly tucked in tight. And we're gonna work on just a little bit of a thoracic extension. So you're gonna kind of curl down through that mid back and chest, and then you're gonna extend through that thoracic. My low back is not really moving here at all. I have my glutes fired like crazy, my quads are firing like crazy, and my core. So I have my pelvic floor pulled in, my transverse is pulled tight. I'm really creating that length in my legs, and I'm not pushing through my hands. I'm trying to use that shoulder blade, mid-thoracic area of my back as I lift and pull, okay? Now, you can stay there. If you want to take it up a little bit more in like difficulty level, then you're gonna take your hands and you're gonna rest your forehead on them. And same thing, I'm gonna squeeze back through my thoracic spine and lift. And again, I'm trying not to extend in my low back. This is not where I want that movement to be. I really want you to think about that stability there. Like if you have a really tight belt on, it's not really letting you move a ton. Keep those legs strong. Your knees should not be bent. They are locked out. Your quads and glutes are firing. If you want to take it up one more level, arms out long to the corners. And you're going to lift and lower and lift. And again, you could be doing this on the floor. Okay, so if you don't have a ball, go to the floor. One more. And release. Bend your knees, kind of hug your ball. Stretch that out a little bit. We're gonna add some rotation into that movement. So extend those legs. Back up onto the balls of the feet. Legs are long and active. Okay, get that core set. Now, I'm gonna put my hands back at my forehead. You are going to lift, and I want you to rotate and turn over as if you were gonna just look over your shoulder, peek, reach down the side of that leg or back of the leg, depending on how far you can get around. Bring it back to center and lower. Lift, other side. Reach, 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 look, 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 look. Center, lower. Lift, reach, 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 reach. Bring it back around and lower. So we've got lift, extend and rotate, center, down. Lift, make sure you're breathing. Again, my low back is not the primary mover here. It's through that kind of thoracolumbar junction, thoracic spine. That lumbar spine is super stabilized. Hold it. Reach the arms down by the side of the legs. Hold. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Go palms up. Reach your arms a little higher. And lower down and hug your ball. All right, now we're gonna come sideways into that ball and work on a little bit of some lateral trunk. Side lying on the ball. You're gonna tuck that ball right into that hip and you're gonna extend those legs out on the wall. And again, I'm not in a super wide stance here, okay? It's just like a nice little walking stride distance and you'll get a feel for what that should feel like. You are not chest up and you are not chest down. I want those hips and chest completely symmetrical, okay, and facing forward on that. And again, my knees are not bent. Push through them, tighten it, get that core set. Now, if you feel like this is a little wobbly, again, you can put a hand down to start here to get your stability. The more ball, again, you have underneath you, the more stable. So I'm gonna move mine underneath me just a little bit more so I have more of my body hanging off. Now, we are going to have some side bent movement from here. So your low back may actually move a little bit on this, but again, you're still focusing on that stability. So you can put a hand on your ball to help a little bit with this side bend. If you need hands on the floor and it's a very small movement, that's fine. If you want to challenge it a little bit more, then you're going to put both hands back behind your head. So core set, squeeze, lift, and lower. 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you reach, it's also a little bit easier. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, hold it. Now I do want you to rotate just your chest. My pelvis stays towards you. It didn't move. All I did was rotate my chest a little bit. Hold. Keep holding. Come back center. Do that one more time. Rotate just the upper body. So you are in this side bent position, your trunk is lifted, and then you're rotated. Just a little bit, small isolated movement. Center, lower down, and reach. Get some length over the side of that body if you want to stretch. And if you want, this is where you can bend your knees and put your feet on the floor. Okay, we've got to switch to the other side. So bottom arm can again be in contact with the floor, the ball, or behind the head. And we're gonna lift from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, really get that compression, 13, 14, and 15. Now hold it up, rotate just your chest. My hips are not moving. Hold. Center. One more time, keep it up, rotate just the chest. Center, and release. All right, now you're gonna take that ball, and if there's ever anything we're doing where you feel like you want more reps, pause the video, do more reps. Now, last one we're gonna do here is we're actually gonna roll the ball up and down the wall. So we're gonna get some hip extension, back stability with this. This one's a little challenging. It could just feel a little weird for people. And then I'll show some modifications. Basically, your modification would be to bridge. So you're gonna come to the wall, and you're gonna walk that ball on up so that your heels are in contact with the ball. Hands are gonna be into the floor, shoulders are back, okay? Now, you do get to help a little bit with your lats here and your back, all right? The goal is that you're gonna slide the ball up the wall as you lift your butt up. So it's like a reverse sit-up for your pelvis, all right? And from here, I do not want you to toe out and roll outward. I want you to keep your kneecaps facing you. Now, if your hamstrings are tight and this position is like causing your butt to already be up off of the floor because you've got too much stretch here, then you do need to back yourself away from the wall, okay? Or just go into a bridge. You can also do a bridge on the floor with the ball on the floor and your feet on the ball. So from here, you're basically gonna press and roll that ball up the wall, really using those back extensors and glutes, and I'm sure it's gonna be all baggy here, but let me pull it up for a second. So you're getting that compression from that front and back, and then you roll back down, okay? So, strong through the trunk and core. Exhale, roll that ball up as high as you can. Weight should be on the shoulders, not on the neck, which is why I can keep moving to look at the camera, because I don't have any weight through my neck. Okay, press, roll and hold. And roll back down. Press and roll. So it's almost like a reverse pike up. So we already sort of did this sort of motion when you were laying on your ball prone, and then we did those pike ups. This is kind of that opposite pike up. Now you're working the back side of that body. Last couple. You're gonna be going at your own pace. Not sure how I slid a little bit, but I did. Let me bring my butt a little closer to the wall for the last two. Okay, here we go. Breathing. And last one, nice and strong. Push, 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 push. And roll down. And bend the knees. Just kind of give yourself a little break. Should have felt that in your hamstrings and glutes. All right, you guys are all done, so we're gonna stretch. And if you wanna stay right where you're at, you can. I'm just gonna kick my ball off to the side and extend one leg. You can grab behind the knee, calf, ankle, or foot if you would like. Make sure you keep that low back into the mat. Release. We're just going to stretch that out a little bit, but again, if you're looking for more flexibility, check out my stretch class. Kind of forces you to hold those stretches for long durations to really work on that flexibility, if that's a goal of yours. And release that. Go ahead and let your knees roll off to one side. Keep your shoulders back into the mat. Other side. Knees over. And release. We're going to do some back extension stretch on the ball to really lengthen that abdominal area. So roll yourself on up. You have a couple options. You can bring that ball right in between those feet. Kind of get yourself back into it. You can support yourself if you need to and arch back. You can also go on your stomach and do any variation of like prone on elbows into like Sphinx pose, prone press up, anything like that for your back extension. Otherwise here, you're gonna keep letting that arch back. You're gonna get a little bit of a hip flexor and quad stretch here as well. And if you can, you're gonna keep laying it back. Roll it on up. A little bit more through the thoracic. So we're actually gonna sit back on your ball, bring your feet out, and I might disappear from the camera here. You're gonna extend and drop, okay? So the ball is really underneath my thoracic spine here, and I'm just getting that extension. And then I'm gonna intensify it if you want. Straighten your legs, reach through those arms and legs, and just lay and relax. Bring it in, carefully roll yourself back up, push yourself up into sitting, and you are all done. So, again, if you want to pause anything, if you need to go back to something and practice it and try, there was a lot of just different options for stability, things that you could do independently as core work. Maybe you just worked on some of the planks with the ball one day. Maybe you worked on that roll up. Maybe you just quite can't get that height yet. So single leg bridges can also help with some of that glute strength to be able to get to that ball roll on the wall. All right, so have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe, stay healthy.